This video is sponsored by Moomoo, but more about them later. If you're new to the stock market or just investing in general, it's totally normal to feel overwhelmed about what to do, what market to invest in, what stocks to buy, etc. etc. In fact, it took me many months before I mastered enough courage to invest in my first stock. And it took me even more time to go through enough ups and all the downs before I could finally settle in and know exactly what I'm doing and start getting good results. I mean, think of investing like a 3-layer process, and this is what we call the top-down approach. We start from the big picture, analyzing a country's macroeconomic factors, and then zooming into high-performing sectors, and lastly, down to the individual company level, where this is where you will commonly hear people say stock pick. That's basically picking businesses for you to invest in. Now, if I were to put it in simpler terms, imagine you are choosing a restaurant for your dinner. You don't just walk into a random restaurant, right? So, you will first decide which area has good food and then what cuisine you are craving for, and only then the specific restaurant that serves it best. And that is literally how a top-down investor thinks. But instead of restaurants, they are choosing countries, sectors, and companies. And the best part, you don't need 10 different websites or 20 tabs open. You can just walk through this whole process step by step inside the Moomoo app. Everything in one place. And you can sign up for a Moomoo account and deposit now using my link down below to get extra rewards for yourself. So, starting with country at the top, you might be wondering, why do I need to care about the country or tariff updates or any geopolitical events when I only want to buy stocks? Fair question, but let's dive a little deeper. Let's use the very recent tariff war as an example. When the tariffs hit imported goods for different countries, especially for things that make our day-to-day electronics like steel, chips or machine parts, any US companies that rely on those materials suddenly have to pay more, right? And when their costs go up, they only have two choices: absorb the cost themselves or pass it to end consumers like you and I. Either way, their profit margins will shrink, and when earnings fall, share price fall as well. And hence why you can see a country's economic environment can directly impact your stocks, and that is why the top-down approach always starts here. And some investors even follow the 40-30-30 formula, where 40% is country's macroeconomic factors, 30% is sector analysis, and remaining 30% is company analysis to help them understand how different layers affect a stock's performance and make informed investing decisions based on this formula. Now, to understand a country properly, you can ask things like, does the government support free trade? Or is the country well regulated? Or where is the country investing their money in? Or are policies business friendly over there? And these questions will help you to spot which countries are focusing on economic growth, which then support company earning growth. And as you can see, many big companies choose to list on the US stock exchange because of its liquidity, transparency, and long-term stability. And above all, US markets strongly support startups and growing companies by giving them better access to capital or money. And this is why tech giants like Google, Tesla, and Nvidia are able to keep expanding and investing heavily in research and developments. Now, to dive deeper, we'll need to look at macroeconomics data. But don't worry if you're new to this one. You can check everything in Moomoo app under the macroeconomics data section. And it is all organized in one place, which saves you a ton of time from Googling. So, first and foremost, GDP, or short for Gross Domestic Products. It measures how much of goods and services produced by a country within a specific time period, usually a year or a quarter or 3 months. Basically, it helps you to determine the health and growth rate of the economy. So, if GDP goes up, it usually means the whole country is doing well. Businesses earn more, people spend more, and investors are more confident to pour their money in. And here's the part many people miss. If you want the real picture, always look at real GDP, not the nominal GDP. It has adjusted for inflation and deflation, which is also generally reported by news headlines and official statistical releases. So you won't get tricked by numbers that look big but actually mean nothing. And next, CPI or Consumer Price Index, something that affects you and I directly, and it measures changes in the price of everyday goods that we buy. And when CPI goes up, that is what we call inflation. And when CPI goes down, it means the economy is cooling down or deflation. And CPI is important because it signals what policymakers might do next. For example, whether or not they will raise or cut interest rates. And over in the US, the Bureau of Labor Statistics (BLS) publishes CPI every single month, as well as Producer Price Index (PPI), and it shows inflations from producers' perspective as well. And here's a key difference between CPI and PPI. CPI is what you and I pay, while PPI is basically what businesses pay. As simple as that. And CPI includes all the extra costs like shipping, distribution costs, taxes, and subsidies, while PPI does not. And it is because producers do not benefit from these costs, but we as the consumers end up paying for them. So when both CPI and PPI increase, it signals inflation is coming in strong. And that is usually seen as bad news for the stock market, because the Federal Reserve may consider raising the federal funds rate to cool things down, which brings me to my next point, the federal funds rate, or what we always call it, the interest rate over in the US. This is the interest rate that banks use when lending money to each other overnight. But for investors, it is a huge deal. The Federal Reserve meets 8 times a year to set this rate based on data like CPI, PPI, and employment data. So, if inflation is high, they raise rates to cool down spending because borrowing becomes expensive and people will spend less. If growth is slow, they cut rates to encourage more spending because borrowing becomes cheaper and people will spend more money. And every Fed meeting is a big event because the decision affects not just the US market but also financial markets all around the world. Why? Because like it or not, the US dollar is still the big boss of global finance. And when the Fed raises or cuts rates, it affects how money flows globally. And currencies move, investors shift their money around, and even countries like Malaysia can feel the impact the very next day. Because, well, the global economy is intertwined and all linked together. And by now, you might be wondering, how do I keep track of all of this without memorizing every single thing? Well, simple. You can use Moomoo's economic calendar feature. It shows upcoming events like GDP report, inflation data, Fed meetings all in one place. And if you tap into a specific event like CPI, you can even see the historical trends and previous figures to help you anticipate the next results. And this makes your life easier because you can plan your investment ahead and respond quickly once the results are out. And yes, you can even add it to your phone's calendar automatically. So, once you're done with the country level, the next thing for you to look at is the sector. And do you know there are more than 40 sectors in the US market? And to make your life easier, you can check out Moomoo's heat map feature. It is basically a very visual and quick way to see what's happening in the stock market without diving into the news of each sector. And you can choose which sector you want to go into by looking at their market size, trading volume, and theme all at one glance. And you can also use their heat map to select specific periods to watch how sectors are performing to support your analysis. And honestly, this part is quite interesting because every economy moves in a business cycle. Basically, the economy's mood swings, and sometimes everything is booming and sometimes things slow down, and that is normal because every economy does this. And there are usually 4 phases: expansion, peak, contraction, and trough. And during expansion, businesses grow and people spend more. But during contraction, everything cools down a bit. And the tricky part, these phases don't run on a schedule and nobody knows how long each phase will last. For example, the US economy experienced a sharp recession during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns in 2020, and everyone stayed at home due to the social distancing requirement until further notice, and many businesses were forced to shut down. So, to support the economy, the US government implemented aggressive fiscal and monetary policies, which helped the economy recover rapidly and push it back into the expansion stage. However, this rapid recovery contributed to high inflation as people suddenly had extra money on hand and were able to spend more, and this later forced the government to take action to cool down the economy. So, as we all experience the impact from COVID-19, I believe you will know the feeling when you do not know when everything is going to end, right? And while you cannot exactly foresee what is going to happen in the future, it is important for you to know that different sectors shine at different times, and this is where the cyclical sector and defensive sector comes into play. And cyclical sectors move together with the economy. And just think of things like the automobile, airline, and retail sectors. Let me give you a simple example. If you suddenly have extra money, maybe your bonus came in already, this is when you feel rich, right? And you will start thinking, hey, maybe I should buy a new Tesla, or maybe shop a little bit more on Shopee, on Amazon. But if your boss cuts your salary or cancels your bonus, you won't be looking at Tesla cars or Amazon shopping app anymore. And this is my point. People behave differently under different market conditions, and stock prices also reflect that. So when interest rates are high and borrowing gets more expensive, demand for things like Tesla or Amazon shopping reduces, and their share price tends to dip down. However, when the economy picks up again and consumers feel richer, demand recovers and these stocks will bounce back. So, cyclical sectors are usually selling things people want, but not necessarily what people need. And naturally, they tend to earn more if everyone is earning more money. But of course, not every sector behaves like this. Some sectors are much steadier and we call them defensive sectors. And these are the won't die one sectors. They don't really care whether the economy is good or bad. They just keep going. And their sales don't drop much even during tough times because people still need to buy these things. Like for example, healthcare, utilities, and consumer staple stuff. And you see, no matter how much your boss adjusts your salary, you still need Colgate, Panadol, and Coca-Cola, right? And that is why defensive sectors are so stable. People don't stop buying these essentials. So companies in this group usually maintain their profits even when the market is bearish or going down. So once you understand the business cycle and types of sectors out there, you can start researching on which stage of the business cycle we are in and which one exactly match your risk appetite and investment goals. Okay, now we have reached the final step, choosing the actual company to invest in. And this is where your hard-earned money either grows or disappears. Okay, just kidding. My point is, the risk with an individual company is significantly higher compared to a more diversified investment, let's say in a sector or an entire country. So we need to put more effort over here, and this is where fundamental analysis comes in. It basically enables you to know a company's true value by looking at what is happening inside the business itself. So, to start analyzing a company, almost like how a doctor checks a patient, you start with the most basic but the most crucial part, the company's financial information. And the three main things you should look at are income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. For example, if you are interested in Nvidia stock, you can simply open a Moomoo app, type the name, and you will see their financial performance instantly. And you don't need to download quarterly reports and calculate everything by yourself manually. Moomoo has presented all the numbers clearly using these charts, so you can easily compare their performance over time. And you can think of these three statements as the answer sheet a company submits after their exam, or quarterly performance announcement to be exact. So let's go through them one by one together. The income statement shows how much the company earned, how much it spent, and how much is left after all the expenses. And the bottom line, or the net profit after tax, is usually the amount that is available to be paid out as dividends to shareholders like you and I. And looking at the trend of the net profit after tax over a period like in the last 4 quarters, that helps us to address one question. Is the company making money or burning money over time? And that tells you whether the company is growing or actually struggling. And the balance sheet shows a company's net worth, what they own and what they owe people. And it follows a simple equation. Asset equals to liabilities plus shareholders' equity. And this balance sheet basically shows you whether a company finances what it owns, or either by borrowing money or by raising funds from investors. Ideally, a company should have more assets than liabilities, meaning it has the ability to pay its debts by using its own resources. And here's something you might want to know. If a company fails to operate today, the balance sheet actually reveals how much it's actually worth. Why? That's because they will sell all its assets or liquidate and use the money to pay off everything it owes under the liabilities section. And whatever is left after paying all the liabilities is the company's net worth, and that number is shown as shareholders' equity on the balance sheet. And the third one, statement of cash flow, and this is like the company's version of your bank account history. It shows how much money came in and went out through operations, investment, and financing activities over a certain period. Basically, it tells you about a company's liquidity on how well they generate and manage the cash they have on hand. And here is the funny one. Some companies might look very profitable, but actually they have no cash left. And many businesses fall not because they don't earn money, but because they run into cash flow problems and can't pay daily expenses. Now, if you remember the shockwaves in 2023, Silicon Valley Bank actually collapsed in just a few days, and the root cause was because of a cash flow problem. When the US government raised interest rates aggressively in 2022 to fight inflation, the value of SVB's long-term bonds dropped because bond prices moved opposite of interest rates. So suddenly, the bank was sitting on huge unrealized losses. And then the news spread and triggered a bank run. Basically, depositors panicked and withdrew their money all at once, and the bank became insolvent almost overnight, and it was forced to shut down. So yeah, even a big bank can collapse if it can't manage its cash flow properly. Now, once you understand the company, the next step is to check its valuation, and this can help you avoid buying a stock at an overly high price. Now, on the Moomoo app, using Nvidia as an example again, go to Company and Company Valuation tab, and you see these three metrics: PS or price to sales, PE, price to earnings ratio, and PB or the price to book ratio. And you can use these to judge whether the stock is overpriced or good buying opportunity. And Moomoo also compares these ratios against the industry average, which helps you to avoid overpriced hype stocks. For example, if Nvidia's PE is roughly 55 and the industry average PE is 50, then maybe it is overpriced already. But again, not every industry PE is the same lah. Some might be higher or some might be lower. Like the oil and gas sector's average PE is only around 14. So it does not imply good or bad. It basically shows the market expectations on the respective stock. And not only that, if you want to check out how Nvidia performs compared to its competitors or business partner, you can click the compare button to proceed to the stock compare page and add the companies from the same industry provided here or even in your watch list, and you can even search if you have a company's name in mind. For example, I'm going to compare Nvidia with AMD and its main supplier TSMC from Taiwan, and choose a timeline based on your preferences to analyze their previous performance. And by just a few simple clicks, you can compare what you are considering all at a glance without checking them one by one yourself manually. So overall, investing does not need to be so complicated, especially when you're just starting as a total beginner. Once you break it down, everything becomes much more clearer, and it is just like planning where you want to eat next. So start your stock research today by signing up for an account in Moomoo, and they are now giving away lots of cash coupons and free Apple shares, but only exclusively for my followers. So deposit now using my code Z11, that's Z11, to get extra rewards before their campaign ends. Thanks for watching.